I'm gonna go to me, and if you can think of a faster way of doing this, let me know. So I click on my icon, and that brings me to here. I click on the icon again. I'm gonna go to my settings button. I'm looking for edit theme. So when you find it, click on it. And then over here, I'm gonna go scroll way down to the bottom on the side here, and I'm looking for add a page. So add a page, and I'm gonna call this one show a link to the page, and the layout should be custom layout. The link I'm gonna show is Pythag thing, and the URL is Pythag thing. You can name yours, don't call it Pythag thing because that's silly, but you can name it whatever you like. Pythagorean calculator or my great Pythagoras calculator, anything you like. And so I made a link for it, and then I'm going to add in my HTML. So I use, this is the less than symbol. In HTML programming, it's called the triangular bracket. And this is the greater than symbol, but in programming, it's called the other triangular bracket. And in my HTML, I'm going to write A is equal to A, and then I'm going to put a text box. So I'm going to put input type equals text. ID is equal to, I'm going to call it A, but capital A, just so that we're not all confused. If I update the preview and save, always update and then save, see, there's my A with the little text box after it. So I'm going to make one for B and one for C. And if I make them, so here's my A, here's my B, and here's my C. The ID for the C should be C, and the ID for the B should be B. And if I update the preview, okay, they're all beside each other. And by the way, if I press return, so I put them all on their own lines, if I run it, they're still going to be update the preview beside each other. Okay, so I need to put in a line break. So that's BR for break, and then a slash for closing of the break, like that. So update the preview. So the A is on its own line. So if I put one after the B as well, the A, B, and C's should all be on their own lines. Make a button, open triangular bracket, button, and it closes it. And if I update the preview, we just get a little button like that. But I'm gonna give this thing a name. So I'm gonna put the word calculate in between here, calculate, and update the preview, and that gives it a label. Okay, so we click it, there's a button. I want it to have a function. So right here, I'm gonna write on click is equal to, and I'm gonna write the name of a function. So my function, I'm gonna call it and open bracket, close bracket, because we're actually sending it to a function. We just haven't written the function yet. So right here, I'm gonna write script. The type of script that we're gonna be writing is, it's gonna be some text, and it's gonna be some JavaScript, like so. And close the quotes and close the script, and then it gives us a close of the script. Okay, so this is the beginning of our script, this is the end of our script. And we're writing a function called calculate. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to write function, calculate. When we press the calculate button, it should call that function. Now what I'm going to have that function do is I'm just going to have it write a little console log. So console.log, and I'm going to have it write, oops, in brackets, then in quotes, hi, how are you? If I know anything about grammar, I'd put a comma after the hi, and update the preview. So then if I click calculate, notice nothing's happening because I'm not really seeing the console log. So under view, and you can't see this because it's way up there. Under view, I'm going to go to developer, and I'm going to go to JavaScript console, and that will show us the console that everybody's talking about. So here it is on the side here. So if I click calculate, customize preview, something is not defined, calculate. Oh, it says JavaScript, and it should be JavaScript. Update preview, calculate. Hi, how are you? So it totally works. It was just something was spelled wrong here. Now we want to get the value of the A, B, and C. So I'm going to make A a variable, var, so it's a variable, and A, so it's a variable defined inside our calculate function, is equal to document. So from the HTML, from the document, we're going to get the value of, so get element is capitalized E, by ID, so capital B, by, and then I, and then lowercase d. So the beginning of each new word is capitalized. Get element by ID, open brackets, and we want the A, and we want its value, so dot value. And then it's a number, so we're going to multiply it by 1 to force it to become a number, not be text. And I'm just going to have it write out, this is the value of A. This is just for us to see that it's working. It's not part of the program. This is A. And then plus update the preview and save. And so if I write something like A is 3 and calculate, it should say, this is A, 3. So it knows that A is 3. I'm going to copy and paste that for B. Copy and paste that and say, this is our value of B. This is B. You know, just in the beginning, I'm just going to make it calculate C. So I'm going to say that C is equal to A squared. So a times a plus b squared, b times b, okay, and the square root of that. Now to get the square root, we use math, or capital M, math dot sqrt. That open brackets, and then we put in the a times a minus plus the b times b, close the brackets, and that is the value of c. Then I'm going to use this document get element by ID to pass the value of c to the c down here. So by ID, c dot value is equal to our c value. Update preview. So I'm going to press A is 3, B is 4. Now C should be 5. I press that, it should write C is 5, but it's not because I didn't write square root. It should be SQRT. Silly me. Update preview, save. So 3 and 4 and calculate, and there's your 5. Totally works. Now if I want to make this a bit more interesting, like you put in the 3 and the 5 and it calculates the 4. Put in a couple of returns, and I'm just going to copy the thing for b is equal to the document. Whoops, I put 2 equals there. Is equal to the c value. What we're going to use is some ifs to decide like which one of these is missing. So I'm going to say if c is equal to 0. Like if c is empty, it's going to turn c by multiplying the empty by 1. It's going to get 0. Okay, so if c is equal to 0, then what I want it to do is everything inside this block. The brace brackets, that's called the beginning of a block, and this is the end of the block, so it's a block of code. So if c is 0, do this block of code, essentially is what we're saying. I need to calculate c. So c is going to be, and we have this code down here, c is equal to that code. I put the double equals again. Be careful of that. So c is equal to the square root of a times b. And then we're going to say, make c into whatever its c value is. What if a was 0? So I'm going to put else, and then if a is equal to 0. So if a is 0, then we're going to calculate a. And what it's going to do is it's going to, like, so that means, like, if c is 0, calculate c and spit out, give c's value of what we calculated it to be. But the else means, well, but if that's not true, if c is not 0, so it's greater than 0, then check, is a 0? So if a is 0, calculate a. Okay, so a is going to be the square root of c squared take away b squared. Because here, this is not code. This is me just showing a little bit of math on the side here. So we know that a squared plus b squared, that's not squared in computer language, is c squared. So that means that a squared must be c squared take away b squared. A squared is c squared take away b squared. All right, let me get rid of that. Not code. Okay, so c squared. So c times c take away b times b, take away b squared. And the square root of that. Okay, and then we're going to say, okay, we want the c in our document, in our HTML, to become, not the c, we want the a in our document become the a that we just calculated. And then I'm going to copy that else and if for b. So if c is not 0 and a is not 0, then b must be 0. Or else if b is equal to 0, and we don't even need that if, by the way, b is equal to c squared minus a squared. Okay, you guys have done enough Pythagoras in the last 2 years. If you're not sure about this, come and see me and I will to explain it to you. The value of b is equal to b. Let's update the preview and press save. And then if I put, if a is 3 and c is 5, if I press calculate, it should say that b is 4. Calculate, b is 4, totally worked. Okay, and what if I forgot to put the a in? What if I said b is 4, c is 5, and I press calculate, it should calculate the 3, and it does. Okay, so it totally works. The next step is to get my image in. So I need to get an image of a triangle. So I'm going to draw one somewhere. I don't know where to draw one. Maybe here, I'll just go online and I'll go to online drawing. Sketchpad. Sounds like fun. So I want to draw a triangle. It's going to be a line. How do I draw a straight line? Line. Okay, that's what I'm after. So from here to here, this is 90 degrees. Okay, that was difficult and confusing. Other drawing programs are available. I'm not going to write my A, B, and C because I'm going to have that happen in the program. The next thing I want to do is crop that. So I just want my drawing to be this triangle. Okay, so any drawing program, you can draw it on your iPad, you can draw it anywhere, you can just draw it on paper and take a picture of it. And then I want to save that. So I want to save it as a PNG because I like PNGs. They take up a lot less memory. So it's just called Drawing PNG and it should be in my downloads folder. Don't close this page, don't lose this page. I'm going to come back to this in a second. So in my main Tumblr page, I'm going to go back to put in some stuff. So I'm just going to click on, if I click there, what is it? Yep, brings me here. But I want to go back to the Talla Vista. Hopefully that's right. I clicked on a little paint palette. And I'm going to click on the math programs icon. Yeah, that's where I am. Clicked on the home, and I'm going to click on the me part to get the math programs. I'm going to click on that. So that's going to bring me into like where I can add new stuff. I'm going to tell it to make a new post, and I click text. You don't have to click text. And I'm going to tell it that I want to upload an image, and I'm going to go and get that from my downloads, and here's my drawing PNG. Okay, so it uploads, and so we're going to post that. So post. There it is. Then I'm going to right click on this. On the computer, I'm going to click Control and click on it, and I'm going to copy image address. Then back into my code. So back into this Tumblr window that I left open. I want to put an image in. So the code to putting an image in is img. So image img, and then I want the source. So src is equal to open quotes, and then paste in that image address. And then I'm going to close that with a close and then the closing bracket. Okay, update the preview, and we should see the image. There it is. Now what I want to do is I want to move the A, B, and C into the right spots. To do that, we're going to need some CSS, some cascading style sheets. So here I'm going to put in style. I'm going to put type is equal to text /CSS. Now I'm going to use these things around my A, B's, and C's called divs. They're like divisions of the screen. Think of them that way. So I'm going to make a div, this div, and its ID is going to be equal to a div. And the close of the div is going to come after my A text box. And I'm going to copy that for B, for C, close the div after my C. This is A div, this one's going to be called B div. And the last one is going to be called, you guessed it, cdiv. If we update the preview, nothing should have changed. In our cascading style sheets, what we're going to do is move the A div. I want to move the A div right to here, and the B div down here, and the C div over to here. Also, the size of those text boxes. Why don't we do that first? Let's shrink these up a little bit. I'm going to make them a lot smaller. Input, open bracket, and it closes the close bracket here. So this is what my input should look like. I want the width to be, let's try 50 pixels. PX for pixels. Update the preview. Notice it shrunk them all to that size. The next thing is I want my A div. Okay, now input, it is a thing in HTML, so we can just write the word input. But because my A div it's a very specific thing, it's an instance of a div. Because it's an instance, because this is the name of something, it's like a specific thing, I'm going to write a hashtag. So A div, open bracket, close bracket, and I'm going to change its position. So position is absolute. Absolute means we can just tell it, just go here, go there. Absolute. And then I'm gonna say that the top is, I'm gonna try 0, just to see what that does. And 0, just to see what we mean by 0, 0. So top is 0 and left is 0. 0 from the top, 0 from the left. And update the preview. So it should move the A right to here, 0, 0. So I want the A to be over here. So I'm going to move it over, I don't know, 240, update the preview, and like that, and there we go. And then I'm going to do the same for B. So I want to move the B up to here. So I'm just going to copy all this, and I'm going to move the B. So for the B div, let's try the same thing, and we'll move it right up on top of the A. Okay, so we want to move it down a bit. Let's say from the top, we want to move it down 100, and over, let's say 100. Let's see how that turns out. We need to come a bit further down and a bit further over. Okay, a little higher. That's too low. So 130. Yeah, that's what I meant to write. 130. Update the preview. Okay, that's perfect. Now for the C, I'm going to move it up to there. So yeah, probably about the same position of the B from the left, but top maybe the same position as the A. I'm just going to copy this to here, change this to C div. Okay, so I want it to be about as low down as the A. So from the top, I want 70, and we'll adjust. It's not going to be perfect. And for the X, I want 130. It's the same as the B. So update the preview. There's the C. So I need to go a little bit up and a little bit back. Maybe from the top, let's try 60 and 120. I'm sure the 60 is going to be fine. The 120, I might need some adjustments. Update the preview. Okay, let's bring it back a little bit to 95. Okay, good enough. So now let's see if it works. If I put in C is 13 and A is 12, okay, if it works, I press calculate, B should be 5. It is. There's your program and it totally works. If you want to move the calculate button like right to the middle of the triangle, we can do that. So let's make a new div around the button. So I can call this button div. So div, oops, open bracket, div, close bracket, and its ID is going to be equal to quotes button div, close of the button div after the close of the button. And here inside my CSS, my cascading style sheets, hashtag button div, open bracket, close bracket. And I'm going to tell it to, I'm going to copy all this code like that, update preview, and it's going to put it right on the C. And I just really want to move it over and down a little bit. So I'm going to move it over instead of to 90. So let's say 120, yeah, 110 for the left instead of being 95. So 150, a little higher would be like, let's try 85. So if I put in 4 here and 5 there, it should give me 3 for B, and it does. Okay, totally works. So here's our calculator. Now if I go, you have to make sure you're pressing update and save, very important. And then I'm gonna click back, and then I'm gonna click exit, and it should bring me to my, if I go to math programs, and if I click on the icon, it should bring me to Pythag thing right there. So if I click on it, it brings me to the program. If I put in 5, A is 3, B should be 4. So 3, and then calculate, and B is 4. There you go. Totally works. Have a good day.